Hello, everyone. It's Friday's Chat with Mac Day. As usual, every Friday we talk about some great stuff, and we have Nadeem here. I know Nadeem is happy it's Friday because it has been a very busy week for the man.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy, but it's been good fun. Always. I guess staying busy uh, makes my mood a little better.
Yeah, no, I get
That's
it.
what I hear. I don't know.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. So yeah,
but
we're
yeah, so it's
we're
been
we're
it's been really busy. It's there's just so much going on. I mean, from a technology perspective, from projects that we're working on, cloud migrations. I mean, all kinds of stuff happening this week. But we're not going to talk just about tech. So, Mac, what do you want to talk about?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now for a while we had kind of got away from talking about security and all that, the good stuff, which we love doing, but we're going to talk about security today because there was a major breach that happened. I'm not sure if it was this week, but it happened here in Texas with a company that provides insurance software, and it just kind of brings home what we've been talking about to people, especially small medium-sized businesses, about security. So Nadeem, tell us a little bit about the ins and outs of this major breach that happened recently.
So, I think I know the one you're talking about. You're talking about Vertifor, right?
Vertifor, yep.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's so Vertifor makes software for insurance companies out there. It handles a lot of data related to insurance. That's what companies use. They put data in there and all of that. So it's a prime target. Everybody knows it's a prime target because it keeps personally identifiable information, what we call PI. So it keeps PI. Any system contains or keeps PI is a prime target. Now, this one really hits close to home because this breach is specifically for customers that were in the Texas area. So let me share my screen real quick so I can kind of show you what's happening here. So here is breach of Texas driver information. And this happened at Vertifor, which makes software for the insurance industry. Now, here's the thing. I want to highlight a few areas here. A breach has occurred of data involving information about anyone who was issued a driver's license in Texas prior to February 2019. That includes me. And I'm not happy when breach includes me. so, uh, so the company, they reported to Texas Department of Motor Vehicles that 3 data files containing driver license info, vehicle registration, and lien holder info were placed on an unsecured external storage service. Unsecured external storage service. And I believe this was a USB drive, by the way. The file contained info on about 27.7 million people. So, Mac, I'm not sure how many people do we have in Texas? I mean, 27.7 million. That's a big number, isn't it?
That's a huge number, and if I have to be honest with you, I'm not sure how many people residents Texas has, but 27 million people.
That's a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure my info's in there too, and yours too, Mac. Well, unless you don't have a driver's license in Texas, you have it in Chicago.
I still have my Chicago driver's license, and I'm probably thinking my lucky stars right now.
So here's the thing. The breach contains names, dates of birth, addresses, vehicle registration histories. I mean, so much info. So now the company Vertifor did report it to the Texas Attorney General, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. along with U.S. federal law enforcement. And of course, they are actively assisting law enforcement. They were caught with their pants down, and of course, they want to help now after the fact. But the thing is, this happens all the time. It's happened not too long ago at MSPs, managed service providers. They're a prime target because they have a lot of information about their customers. This time, this insurance software provider was a prime target because they have a lot of info about just users, just people. Now, this was human error, and most breaches that we've seen recently were because of human error. So we need to make sure that not only do we implement technical systems, technology that will secure stuff, but education, user education. I mean, who would save confidential info on an unencrypted USB device? I mean, in this day and age, I think pretty much any recent device that you can get will automatically be encrypted.
Yep.
Or I mean, I don't know, unless you're digging for a device from 10 years ago in your basement or something. Pretty much any device is going to be encrypted. So now Vertafore is offering all Texas driver's licensees 1 year free credit monitoring, identity restoration services because of what happened here. Now, here's an interesting thing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal experience. A few days ago, I got a call from the SBA. And I got a call that, sir, you applied for a PPP loan. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Says, and that's why, and the guy says, that's why I wanted to call and confirm. Somebody did apply for a PPP loan using your Social Security number. And I'm like, well, crap, so now that means my identity has been compromised. Well, long story short, I mean, I did freeze my my credit with the bureaus, and nothing came of it. The good thing is somebody was on the ball, and they didn't just process and rubber stamp this application. They picked up the phone and called because the application had my cell phone on there. And on applications, I never use my cell phone. I always use a separate number.
Wow.
So I know whoever had this, somehow they got the information that contained my cell phone. And I'm just glad that the SBA person who was working the case, he called me, and he called my cell, and I talked to him, and that's what happened. Now, one of our guys, who work here at PCSN, we were talking, I think, was it like a couple of days ago?
It was actually yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. So it was like yesterday. Time flies in my head.
Yeah.
So he was saying that he got a similar identity theft issue going on. Somebody in California was caught with this guy's identity. Our employee's identity in California. So I think it was a sheriff or somebody from California called in and says, hey, your identity has been compromised. We found all this info in a person's car, and your info was in there. So the moral of the story is it's rampant. It's rampant.
Especially
if you
now.
deal with, especially now, if you deal with any customer data, any kind of customer data, you need to make sure that whoever comes into contact with this data is trained on how to handle this data. And you can't just do a one-time training, call it a day, and be done. It has to be an ongoing thing. You have to do an ongoing training. I always recommend, you need to do at least once a year. Now, I know with the pandemic and all, so we used to do on-site trainings with some of our customers. But with the pandemic and all that, we have not been doing on-site trainings. Some customers that used to do trainings are not doing trainings at all. And I think that's just causing an uptick in these kind of breaches. we work with a lot of different companies, customers in the insurance industry, and Vertafore is a big software that insurance companies use. I mean, pretty much any insurance company you talk to, they have some sort of Vertafore software that they're using. Now, if you are in Texas and your data may be compromised, so what you want to do is you want to go to vertafore.kroll.com. I'll spell it out. vertafore.kroll.com. So go to this website. It's a dedicated website with more info about the breach. You can get more info there. And they also have a call center set up for more information. And I'm going to give you this number. It's 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. The number is 888-479-3560. I'll highlight it right here, 888-479-3560. Get more information if maybe your data has been compromised or if you need to put a freeze on your identity or anything like that. If you're not actively looking for any credit, then I would just preemptively freeze my identity anyway, which I've done already because of my SBA issue. But I would say anybody out there, especially right now, unless you are actively looking to buy a house or looking for credit, just go ahead and freeze your identity. And then if you do need to get some credit, you can always remove the block and put it back on after it's all done. It's just I think in this day and age and at this time, the way we're seeing this uptick is just a good thing to have. So yeah, needless to say, this week has been kind of busy. It's not a lot of work for companies like us because the breach is done at a software provider. There's not much that we can do to help our customers in the insurance industry. I mean, what can we do? The software, the compromise has been done. The cat's already out of the bag. We don't have control of this software to put the cat back in the bag. So
Right.
Vertafore, Vertafore is working. They're offering, credit services, support, more information, and all that. It's just it shouldn't happen, but it does. And it's not really. I mean, I hate to say, it was the employee's fault or it was Vertafore's fault. It's just human nature. I mean, yeah, it may be somebody at Vertafore's fault who maybe didn't deem it necessary to do ongoing training for users who deal with this type of data on an ongoing basis. If this employee had been trained on how they need to have encrypted devices, even if their device gets stolen, you don't have to worry about it. It's encrypted. Without that decryption key, you can't do anything with it. So that's what's been happening. That's what's been going on, especially for people in Texas. That's
that's a huge. And here's the thing about this, and I sometimes I don't think people kind of take these things seriously. Even before I remember at the beginning stages of the pandemic, you were talking about the need to really pay attention as far as one, security, and two, that as we went on, you knew that this was going to get worse. I mean, you were screaming it from the mountaintops like, hey, this is only going to get worse before it gets better. And
yeah, and we don't see an end in sight yet. Well, maybe we see a light at the end of the tunnel, but we don't know how far that light is yet. So
right.
So the thing is, we're still on that trajectory where these kind of things are going to get worse. And there are certain things you can do. Of course, user training is paramount. You got to get your users trained.
Yeah.
Number two, have some kind of technology in place to prevent the first line of defense. The devices that users use, especially now when more and more users are working remote. Secure those devices, secure that interface. And finally, monitor the dark web to make sure that there are no breaches, there's no information for sale. And if there is, it will alert you. You can take action and do that.
And those are things that we do, we help people with here, dark web security and things of that nature. But Dean, you kind of your first point. If you can you talk a little bit about that? Because here's the reason I bring that up. There's been I can't tell you uh, when we were doing a dark web campaign, security campaign. I can't tell you the number of people, business owners or CIOs, whatever, that would say training doesn't work. I mean, I heard that so much, from them, like, oh, it doesn't matter what you do. People are going to click on, emails that they're not supposed to click on and all that. And I heard that as an excuse not to
Right.
even
Right.
bother.
And I hear that a lot as well. Now, here's the thing. People who do ongoing training, I don't hear it from them.
That's
People who have
true.
never done training, they always say training doesn't work. How do
That's
you know it
true.
doesn't work when you haven't tried it? I mean, it boggles my mind. It's like, okay, have you done training? And they'll be like, no, we've never done it because it doesn't work. Well, how do you know it doesn't work?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, and training, security is always a layered approach. You can't just do one thing and then call it a day and be done with it. Training is an ongoing thing. You combine that with technology, secure the user interface. You combine that with monitoring some of these marketplaces to, if there is a breach, that you get notified and you can block certain things. You can take action before it, proverbially hits the fan. So training does work, but by itself, it is not as effective. You have to have multiple layers. Security is always a layered approach. Think of it like onion. You gotta, if a bad guy has to peel these layers off, they're gonna peel one, two, they're gonna go to a easier target. And that's how security works. Nothing is 100% secure. It is only 100% secure if you make it disappear. So if you have access to some information, unless you can completely erase that information, never use it again, it is never 100% secure. It's a fight on how difficult it is to get to that information for the bad guys. If you make it very difficult for them, they're going to go to the easier targets. And that's how it works. That's what it is. In this day and age, with all these devices connected and more, I mean, we are seeing exponential growth in connected devices, from devices on your wrists to your smartphones in your pockets, to tablets, to computers, to cars, to refrigerators, to smart TVs, to doorbells. To garage doors. I mean, you have garage doors you can open. You can use Amazon Key for garage doors for remote opening. I mean, it's exponential growth in connectivity and devices that connect us to the internet. So you gotta do training. You gotta put the right technology in place, and then finally you gotta back it up with monitoring. It's a simple process. 1, 2, 3: training, technology, and then monitoring. Easy, right? And a lot of people don't even do the training because they're like, oh, it doesn't work. And then when you ask them, well, have you tried it? No, we've never done it because it doesn't work. Well, how do you know it doesn't work? It just doesn't make sense to me. So and I know, I mean, like before the pandemic, Mac, when we used to talk security with companies and customers and or prospects, even, there'd be, the minute we say security, people go like, it's like, so people used to equate security with insurance, like it's insurance. Security is not insurance. Security is something different. I mean, if somebody is giving you access to their information, then it's your responsibility to make sure that that information is secure.
That's correct.
It's like if I give you my phone, I give it to you for a day, then if I give it to you, it's your responsibility to take care of it and give it back to me when I need it. Right. And give it back to me without scratches or dents or in non-working condition. Now you get this information from your customers or users, and then if there is a breach, now all this trouble that the users have to go through to secure their credit, to rebuild what has been lost, it's a lot of hassle. And especially for public companies, they have a requirement to reveal such breaches. If for small companies where, if they're not publicly traded, they don't have any requirement to reveal information. And you probably don't even want to know how many breaches happen in the
Yeah.
SME space that
Yeah.
nobody talks about,
Nobody
because
talks about.
it only impacts a small number of people. In the big picture, it's a small fraction of people. Nobody really cares about that. But let me give you this idea. Have you ever had your credit card compromised? I think everybody has multiple times in their life.
Yep.
And every time around Christmas time, it happens again. I'm ready for it. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So now think about this. How did that credit card info get compromised? Probably some small business where you used it at, like you bought some cookies or you got gas or you got something, a small vendor where it got compromised. It never came out publicly because they're not required to divulge that information. So that's what happens, and it's been happening. It's only going to get worse as more and more devices get to the cloud, get connected to the internet. As more and more people connect to the internet, it's not going to get any better. So people train, implement technology to secure things, and then monitor. Back it up with monitoring. It's simple things.
Simple. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's great.
Just got to do it.
Great. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to give you a heads up. Next week, for all of you 2FA users that are using Microsoft 2FA and you waiting for a code to come to your phone, we're going to talk about that. There, and Nadeem has been talking about this for a while also, and a lot of you, because you're used to using it that way. Well, Microsoft has a little word for you. I'm not going to spoil it, but you're going to want to listen to this because it's probably going to affect a lot of you right now.
Yeah, it is, and I don't even know what you're talking about. So, but yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And there's just especially right now, we are seeing attacks on vectors that we hadn't even thought about. I mean, it's just things that are just. I mean, it's just crazy right now.
It's nuts.
Everybody's shield should be up. That invisible shield, that energy shield, it should be up.
And you want to know the funny thing about that, Nadeem? You would think, especially, with in the SMB space, people are like, oh my god. And for larger corporations, we're seeing that. For whatever reason in the SMB space, however, I don't know if it's clicking that, hey, you are the main target for a lot of these people. Not sure what it's going to take, but I don't know. I don't get it. It's weird. It's really weird.
So not only in the SMB space, I mean, it's like internally. I mean, we have to implement these security precautions internally. We have to go through the same stuff. We have to do the trainings, and we have to do more so because I understand. We understand we are a prime target because we have access to customer systems. So we are a prime target. And there's already been breaches at other MSPs who were asleep at the wheel, so to say, and they got breached because
one.
Yeah. I mean, it happened like 2 cases I know of where it was one admin, one guy who had a remote access system set up for him so he can get in that was compromised, and the bad guys got in. And then all of a sudden they had access to all the customer data. I mean, it's in this day and age, it shouldn't happen. I mean, like what we do is, even if you do the training, you implement the things, but then you monitor everything. You still have to monitor. You have to monitor that nobody is setting up a back door for themselves to make it easier for themselves to access some of the systems. Maybe it's one of those users who, didn't know anything about encryption and they just set up a back door to come in without encryption and log in and do their work with good intentions. But if you're monitoring, you will catch that, you will block that, you will have a nice chat with that user, like you should.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's right now it's paramount. I mean, especially companies who deal with customer data, like in retail, in insurance, any
Financial
kind of
services.
professional
Yeah.
services. If you have,
Yeah.
like, if you're an accounting firm and you deal with tax info, I mean, this is a gold mine for the bad guys out there,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
But yeah, so just wanted to touch base on that. Wanted to give a heads up to everybody about this Vertafore breach. Mac, is there anything else we need to talk about? We need to touch on?
No, no.
Good, good.
Next week is gonna be a good one. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, it's been great, and I think next week is going to be uh kind of busy for us. I mean, for me, there's a few projects starting up, but yeah, I mean, I'm just enjoying it. I've been working some of the other businesses as well, and everything is kind of opening up.
Well, let's see
Where
how long it opens up, because
yeah, yeah. I mean, so at PCSN, we didn't really feel the initial brunt of that because being in IT, people needed more IT. So it was actually an uptick in work for us. But for some of the other businesses, we kind of saw a little hesitation there, but then it kind of picked up again, and it looks like it picked up more than where it was when it kind of got a flat. There was like a flat space, and then now
yeah.
it's up again. But yeah, so folks, appreciate you joining us, and until Monday, I think, yeah, Monday. I will see you guys on Monday, and then Mac will be back next Friday.
We'll see you guys.
Yep. Have a good one.
Bye.